I have 6 seconds to decide if I'm going to die tonight. The stranger's hands are gentle as they smooth the blanket over the sleeping child's chest. Too gentle. The kind of careful that comes before violence. I catalog what I see through the gap where they didn't quite close the bedroom door. Black gloves despite the June heat, medical-grade vinyl that won't leave prints. The child's breathing is wrong. Too slow. Too shallow. The glass of milk on the nightstand still has condensation. Whatever was in it works fast. My wrists burn where zip ties cut into skin, anchoring me to this chair in the hallway. They position me here deliberately, not in the bedroom where I could interfere, not in the service quarters where I wouldn't witness. Here, where I can see everything but do nothing, where I'll be found with the body. The stranger turns. Through the crack, I see her face, sharp cheekbones, expensive foundation. 2 shades too light for her neck, a blonde wig that doesn't match her black eyebrows. She's wearing my uniform, the spare one I keep in my locker, the one that disappeared 3 days ago when I thought I'd misplaced it. She's me. Or she will be, when she walks out of here and tells building security that Ms. Chen worked late tonight. And yes, the child was sleeping peacefully when she left. I know 3 things with absolute certainty. That child has been drugged. This woman is going to kill him, and I'm the designed scapegoat. The real question is whether Kang Jin-seok, the father who terrifies this entire city, who owns half of Vancouver's waterfront through shell corporations whose name people whisper like a curse, will let me live long enough to tell him the truth. The child's chest rises, falls, doesn't rise again for 3 seconds, 4, 5. My ER training kicks in, respiratory depression, opioid overdose. He has maybe 8 minutes before brain damage, 12 before death. The woman is checking her watch, waiting. I can't call out. They gagged me with professional efficiency. Can't move. These ties are law enforcement grade, the kind we see on trafficking victims in the ER. Can't even make enough noise to alert the guards downstairs without alerting her first. But I can count. And I notice things. The woman's left hand trembles when she reaches for the pillow. First-time killer. The watch she keeps checking is men's, oversized on her wrist. Borrowed, probably from whoever planned this. She's positioned herself between the child and the bedroom door, but she keeps glancing at the window. Escape route. Which means she's not supposed to be here when the body is discovered either. Someone very smart designed this. Someone who knows Kang Jin-seok's schedule, his security rotation, his son's bedtime routine. Someone who knows I'm new enough 6 weeks that my disappearance wouldn't raise immediate alarms, but present enough that my fingerprints are all over this penthouse. The child's lips are turning blue. If you were tied to a chair, watching a 7-year-old boy suffocate, knowing the most dangerous man in Vancouver would find you here in 90 minutes when his meeting ends, knowing he'd see his murdered son and your face and nothing else, what would you do? Because I chose to make noise. I chose to bet everything that someone downstairs would hear me before she killed us both. And when Kang Jin-seok came through that door, 47 minutes early with a gun already drawn, I had exactly 1 chance to make him look at what I was seeing instead of putting a bullet in my skull. This is how I got here. The Korean Mafia boss found a stranger in his son's bed. The maid was tied to a chair. The first time I saw Kang Jin-seok, he was bleeding on my bathroom floor. Not my hospital bathroom, my apartment bathroom, the 1 bedroom in Burnaby I could barely afford, even with ER nurse salary. I'd come home at 3 a.m. after a double shift, desperate for sleep, and found him sitting in my bathtub with a gunshot wound in his shoulder and my cat in his lap. "Your door lock is inadequate," he said in perfect English, accent barely noticeable. "I'll send someone to replace it." Mr. Whiskers was purring. My cat, who hissed at my own mother, was purring in a stranger's lap while blood dripped on the porcelain. My training overrode my fear. That wound needs a hospital. "No hospitals." He shifted, winced. "You're a nurse. I researched the building." "I'm calling the police." You're in debt." He said it flatly, reading my face like a chart. "Your brother died 8 months ago, overdose. You paid for rehab twice before that, then the hospital bills when his liver failed. You picked up double shifts for 6 months straight. You're drowning." My hand was already on my phone. I didn't dial. "I pay well," he said, "and I pay debts. You stop this bleeding, you get $10,000. You ask no questions, you get another 10 when I leave. You forget I was here, I clear your brother's remaining hospital debt, all $47,000 by Monday." I should have called 911, should have run. But I was staring at his shoulder, and my brain was automatically cataloging through and through, missed the subclavian artery by centimeters, no bone fragments visible, moderate bleeding, survivable with proper care. $47,312, I heard myself say. That's the exact amount. He smiled then. It didn't reach his eyes. "I know everything about the people in my buildings, Ms. Chen. I own this one." That's when I understood. This wasn't random. He'd chosen my apartment specifically because he'd already researched me, vetted me, decided I was useful. The debt wasn't just leverage, it was a job interview. I closed the bathroom door, got my medical bag, and learned that Kang Jin-seok never showed up anywhere without a plan. 2 weeks after I stitched him up, after $47,312 appeared in my account exactly as promised, I got a job offer. Household staff for a private client, 3 times my hospital salary, live-out position, reasonable hours, health insurance that actually covered things. The address was a downtown penthouse worth $12 million. The client was listed as J.K. Holdings. I wasn't stupid. I knew what I was walking into. But debt has gravity, and I'd been drowning for so long that even a devil's hand looks like rescue. The woman who interviewed me was named Mrs. Lim, 50-something, sharp-eyed, with the posture of someone who'd worked in service for decades. She walked me through the penthouse. 12 rooms, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Cole Harbor, furniture that cost more than my annual salary. "Mr. Kang travels frequently," she said. "The position is primarily caring for his son, Min Jun, 7 years old, very bright. You'll handle meals, homework supervision, evening routine. A security detail manages everything else. And Mr. Kang? You'll rarely see him. He prefers his son's care staff to be invisible." She studied me. "Can you be invisible, Miss Chen?" I'd spent 3 years in a level 1 trauma center. I knew how to see everything and reveal nothing. "Yes." "Good. Because Mr. Kang's world is complicated. People in his life need to be trustworthy, observant, and very, very discreet." She handed me a contract. "You notice things that don't belong. You report them. You see nothing that doesn't concern the child. Understand?" I understood I was being recruited into something dangerous. I also understood my bank account had $17, and I was picking up groceries at the food bank. I signed. Min Jun had his mother's eyes and his father's careful stillness. The first week, he barely spoke to me, just watched with those dark, assessing eyes while I made dinner, helped with homework, ran his bath. His bedroom was a kid's dream, custom bookshelves, gaming setup, a bed shaped like a race car, but he moved through it like a guest, touching nothing without permission. On day 8, he finally asked, "Are you scared of my dad?" I was folding his laundry. I met his eyes. "Yes," he blinked. Adults probably lied to him constantly. "Why'd you take the job then?" "Because I needed it, and because being scared doesn't mean running." He thought about that. My mom used to say that, before she died. I didn't know what to say. Mrs. Lim had mentioned his mother only once. Past 3 years ago, Mr. Kang doesn't discuss it. Min Jun climbed onto his bed. "Dad says people work for him because they're loyal or because they're scared. Which are you?" "Neither yet. I just work for you." That surprised him. "Not for Dad?" "He hired me. But you're who I take care of." I set down his folded shirts. "So if you need something, you tell me. Not because I'm paid to listen, but because that's the job, okay?" He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. After that, he talked. About school, about missing his mom, about how his dad traveled constantly but always called at bedtime, about how everyone at school was scared of him because of his last name. "Do you know what my dad does?" he asked one night. "I know he's in real estate." "That's not all." "I know." I tucked his blanket in. "But that's not my business. You are." He smiled at that. A real one. "You're weird. I like it." I met Kang Jin-seok again 3 weeks into the job. I was in the kitchen at 11 p.m. cleaning up after Min-jun's dinner when I heard the penthouse door open. I froze. Security hadn't called up to announce anyone. He walked in wearing a suit that probably cost my monthly salary, no blood this time, but the same predatory awareness. He saw me and stopped. "Ms. Chen." "Mr. Kang." I set down the dish. "I wasn't expecting you until tomorrow." Meeting ended early. His eyes scanned the kitchen, checking for threats or changes, I realized. Always assessing. "How is Min-jun?" "Asleep. He finished homework. Ate well. No complaints." "You're still here." "I stay until you arrive, per contract." He moved to the counter, poured himself whiskey from a crystal decanter. "Mrs. Lim says you're competent. Min-jun says you're weird but nice." The corner of his mouth twitched. High praise. He hated the last 3. "I just do the job. That's why I hired you." He took a sip. "You don't ask questions. You don't gossip. You notice things." I said nothing. 2 days ago, you moved the vase in the entryway 6 inches left. Why?" My pulse jumped. I'd done that reflexively. It had been blocking the security camera's sightline to the door. It was obstructing the camera view. Most people wouldn't notice the camera. I notice a lot of things. He smiled then. A real one this time, sharp and interested. "Yes, Mrs. Lim mentioned that too. You reorganized the medicine cabinet by expiration date and alphabetically. You caught an error in Min-jun's prescription dosage before filling it. You spotted a maintenance worker who didn't belong in the building and reported him." That last one had been instinct. The man's uniform was right, but he'd entered the service elevator without badging in first. Security had found him 3 floors down, rifling through storage units. "I worked ER for 3 years," I said. "You learn to see what's wrong." "And what do you see now?" I looked at him, really looked. Expensive suit, but the shoulder seam on the left was slightly off. Recent tailoring to accommodate the healing gunshot wound. His right hand stayed near his jacket pocket. Gun. His eyes had shadows underneath, not sleeping well, and his wedding ring was still on his left hand 3 years after his wife's death. "I see someone who doesn't trust easily," I said, "who checks his own home for threats every time he enters, who hired me not just because I'm good with kids, but because you need someone watching who doesn't belong to your world." The silence stretched. Then, "You're smarter than I anticipated." "Is that a problem?" "No." He set down his glass. "It's useful. I need someone in this house who sees what others miss, someone who reports to me directly. Can you do that?" I understood what he was asking. Be his eyes, watch for threats, cross a line from employee to, what? Informant? Accomplice? But he'd cleared my debt, and Min-jun needed someone who'd protect him, not just watch him. "Yes," I said. "Good." He pulled an envelope from his pocket, set it on the counter. "Your salary just doubled. And Ms. Chen, if you ever see something that threatens Min-jun, anything at all, you come to me first. Not security, not staff. Me." "Understood." He left. I opened the envelope. $20,000 cash. That's when I realized Kang Jin-seok didn't trust his own security, and whatever he was protecting his son from was already inside these walls. 3 days before the bedroom, the first warning sign was so small I almost missed it. Min-jun's inhaler. He had mild asthma. Nothing severe, but he used an inhaler before bed as prevention. I'd been managing his medications for 5 weeks. I knew that inhaler. blue cap, specific manufacturer, prescription filled monthly at the same pharmacy. Wednesday night, I went to get it from the medicine cabinet and stopped. The cap was blue. The prescription label matched, but the inhaler body was slightly different. The grip texture was smooth instead of ridged, and when I checked the manufacturing stamp on the bottom, the date was wrong. This batch was produced 3 months ago. Minjun's current prescription was filled 2 weeks ago. The manufacturing date should be recent. Someone had swapped it. I stood there, mind racing. Could be innocent, a pharmacy error maybe, but my ER training was screaming. Because if someone wanted to hurt a child with asthma, tampering with medication was efficient and subtle. I didn't give it to Minjun, made an excuse about it being empty, used the backup I kept in my bag, one I'd personally filled last week and never let out of my sight. Then I went to Kang Jin-seok. He was in his study, door closed. I knocked, waited. Come. He was at his desk, paperwork spread across mahogany, a glass of whiskey barely touched. His eyes flicked up. Miss Chen, it's late. I need to show you something. I set both inhalers on his desk, the legitimate one from my bag, the suspicious one from the cabinet. Minjun's medication, this one, I pointed left, is correct. This one appeared in the medicine cabinet tonight. I showed him the manufacturing date, the texture difference. Someone swapped them. His expression didn't change, but his entire body went still. Predator, still. You're certain? I manage his medications personally. I know what's correct. He picked up the suspicious inhaler, examining it with the same intensity I'd seen him assess threats. You didn't give this to him. No, used my backup. You keep a backup. Always, in case of emergencies. He looked at me then, really looked. You saved my son's life tonight. I don't know that. I do. He stood, pulled his phone, made a call. Yoon, I need you at the penthouse. Now. Bring a testing kit. He hung up, looked at me. Who has access to the medicine cabinet? I thought through it. Household staff. Mrs. Lim, myself. Security does sweeps but shouldn't touch medications. Cleaning crew is supervised. Your private staff has access to all rooms. How many people total? Maybe 15 regularly. And anyone with building access could enter if they had your routine. My stomach dropped. You think this was planned? I think someone is testing vulnerabilities. He pulled his gun from the desk drawer, checked the magazine, and they just found out I have someone competent protecting my son. A man arrived 20 minutes later. Yoon, apparently, mid-40s, carrying a black case. He nodded to Kang Jin-seok, ignored me, and immediately began testing the suspicious inhaler with a portable lab setup. 5 minutes later, contaminated. Someone dissolved alprazolam into the propellant, enough to sedate a child his size into respiratory failure within 30 minutes. The temperature in the room plummeted. Kang Jin-seok's voice was perfectly calm. How long has this been in place? Can't determine without knowing replacement timing, but the seal was recent, within 72 hours. Security footage. I want every person who entered that cabinet in the last week. He looked at me. You'll review it with me. You know what belongs. I nodded. And Ms. Chen? From now on, you don't leave Minjun alone with anyone. You sleep in the guest suite here. You control all his medications, food, water, no one else, understand? Yes. Good. He holstered his gun. Because someone in my organization just tried to kill my son. And when I find out who, I'm going to bury them so deep their family won't find bones. I moved into the penthouse that night. The guest suite was nicer than my entire apartment. King bed, marble bathroom, a closet bigger than my old bedroom, but I barely saw it. For the next 48 hours, I lived on coffee and paranoia, watching Minjun like a trauma surgeon watches vitals. I controlled every input, food from sealed packages. I opened myself, water from bottles I personally purchased, medications from my locked bag. I watched who came near him, who touched his things, who had access to his space. Minjun noticed. Are you sleeping here now? For a while. Because someone tried to hurt me. I could lie, but he was 7, not stupid. Yes. Was it the inhaler? Yes. He processed that with eerie calm. Dad's people are going to find who did it. Yes. And then they'll disappear. I looked at him. This child understood his father's world better than I'd realized. Probably. Good. He said it without emotion. Then, will you stay? After they find them? Do you want me to? Yeah. He met my eyes. You notice things. That's good. Smart kid, terrifying kid. But mine to protect now. Kang Jin Seok was methodical. We spent 2 nights reviewing security footage together. His study became a war room, screens showing every angle, timelines mapped out, personnel files spread across his desk. He worked like a prosecutor. There. Pause. I froze the footage. Tuesday afternoon, 3:47 p.m. cleaning crew in the penthouse. That's Mari, I said. Tuesday/Thursday rotation. She's been here 6 months. Watch her hands. I did. She cleaned the bathroom, wiped counters, restocked towels. Nothing unusual. Then she opened the medicine cabinet, routine, checking supplies, and her left hand moved fast. Barely visible. Something went in. Something came out. She swapped them, I breathed. Rewind. Slow. I did, frame by frame. Her left hand had a small bag palmed, maybe 2 inches square. She removed Minjun's inhaler, replaced it with an identical one from the bag, pocketed the original. 8 seconds total. Professional, Kang Jin Seok said quietly. Practiced. This wasn't her first time. What do? We watch. If she's working for someone, confronting her now exposes our knowledge. Better to let her think it worked. He made a note. I'm moving Minjun to a safe house tomorrow. You'll go with him. Limited staff, controlled access. We'll see who asks questions about the transfer. And Mari? His smile was cold. I'll handle Mari. I learned something that week. Kang Jin Seok's world had rules. Not the law, his own code. He laid it out one night while we reviewed personnel files. I pay my debts, he said. Always. If someone does me a service, I remember. If they do me harm, I remember that too. And betrayal? Death. But quick if they confess. Slow if they lie. He said it like discussing weather. Loyalty is everything in my world, Ms. Chen. Without it, the structure collapses. Is that what happened to your wife? The silence was immediate and absolute. I'd crossed a line. But then, my wife died because someone I trusted told her schedule to rival organization. She was killed to hurt me. His eyes were black ice. I found the man responsible. It took 3 years. I buried him alive. I should have been horrified. Maybe I was. But I also understood. This man protected what was his with absolute ruthlessness. And right now, I was part of what he protected. No one touches Minjun, I said. No one. He looked at me. You're not what I expected, Ms. Chen. What did you expect? Someone competent, discreet, professional. He poured whiskey, offered me a glass. I took it. I didn't expect someone who'd stand between my son and a killer without hesitation. That's the job. No, the job is childcare. You're doing something else. He studied me. Why? I thought about my brother, about watching him slip away because I'd been too tired, too overworked to see the signs, about living with that failure. Because I missed it once before, I said. Someone I loved. I was exhausted, distracted. I didn't see the signs, and he died. I met Kang Jin Seok's eyes. I won't miss it again. Understanding crossed his face. Your brother. Yes. You blame yourself. I was a nurse. I should have seen it. Or he was an addict who hid it well, and you're human. His voice softened, barely but noticeably. Guilt is useful. It keeps us sharp. But it's a terrible compass, Miss Chen. It points backward when you need to move forward. I didn't know what to say to that. You saved Minjun, he continued. Not because you're guilty, because you're good at your job. Remember the difference. That was the first time I saw Kang Jin-seok as something other than dangerous, as someone who understood grief, who'd lost someone too. It was also when I realized I was in serious trouble, because I was starting to care about this man beyond professional obligation. The safe house was a Richmond property, a luxury home in a gated community, anonymous and secure. Min-jun, me, 2 bodyguards, and a cook. No one else. For 3 days, nothing happened. Min-jun did schoolwork. I managed his routine. The bodyguards rotated shifts. It felt almost normal. Then Thursday afternoon, I noticed something wrong. One of the bodyguards, Jay, younger guy, maybe 28, been with Kang Jin-seok security for 5 years per his file, was outside making a phone call. Nothing unusual, except he'd angled himself away from the security camera. And his body language was wrong. Shoulders tight, head down, left hand fidgeting with his watch. Stress behavior. People making routine calls don't position themselves to avoid cameras. I watched through the window. The call lasted 90 seconds. When he came back inside, he smiled at me. Friendly, professional, but his pupils were dilated. Adrenaline response. I texted Kang Jin-seok, North bodyguard acting unusual. Maid call avoiding camera. Elevated stress markers. Response came in 30 seconds. Note anything else. Don't confront. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Mari, about the swapped inhaler, about how she'd been inside Kang Jin-seok's organization for 6 months before making her move. What if it wasn't just one person? What if this was coordinated? At 2 a.m., I got up, checked on Min-jun. Sleeping peacefully, bodyguard stationed outside his door. I went to the kitchen for water. Jay was there. He startled when I entered, quickly covered. "Miss Chen, can't sleep." Thirsty. I filled a glass, studied him in peripheral vision. He was watching me too carefully. Quiet night. Yeah, boring, honestly. He smiled. Better than exciting, though. True. I drank, started to leave, then stopped. "Hey, did you replace the water filter? This tastes different." No. Maybe the cook did. Maybe. I smiled, went back to my room. I hadn't tasted anything different. The water was fine. But Jay's reaction told me everything. His eyes had flicked to the pantry, just for a second before he'd answered, and he'd hesitated 3 seconds too long. I texted Kang Jin-seok again. "Need you to come here. Now. Don't alert staff." He arrived in 40 minutes. I met him at the door, kept my voice low. "The bodyguard, Jay. He's compromised." I asked about water filter. He looked at the pantry reflexively. "Someone's inside the infrastructure." Kang Jin-seok's expression went cold. "Show me." We went to the pantry. I'd already checked it. Behind the bulk rice bags, hidden in a gap between shelving, was a small camera. Wireless, battery-powered, recording everything. "How long has this been here?" he asked quietly. "Can't know for certain, but I watched him make a call today avoiding cameras. He's reporting to someone." "You're certain?" "Yes." He pulled his phone. Made a call. "Yoon, safe house. Bring Hyung-nim." 15 minutes later, 2 men arrived. The older one, Hyung-nim apparently, maybe 50, with the kind of face that had seen decades of violence, took one look at the camera and nodded. "Inside job?" "Yes." Kang Jin-seok looked at me. "Miss Chen, take Min-jun to the car. Now, don't speak to anyone." "What about now?" I went, woke Min-jun gently. "We're leaving, quietly." He didn't ask questions. Smart kid. I carried him to Kang Jin-seok's car, locked the doors, waited. 10 minutes later, Kang Jin-seok emerged, alone. His knuckles were bleeding. He got in the driver's seat, started the engine, didn't speak until we were on the highway. Jay confessed. He's been feeding information to a rival organization for 8 months. Mari was recruited through him. He glanced at Min-jun in the rearview mirror, asleep again in the back seat. They wanted my son as leverage, planned to stage a kidnapping ransom for territory concessions. And now Jay is gone, and we have bigger problems. Which are? If he's been inside for 8 months, he knows too much. Security details, safe houses, business operations. We're compromised at every level. He looked at me. I need to rebuild my security from scratch, and until I do, I trust exactly 3 people: Yoon, Youngnim, and you. Me? You found 2 threats in 2 weeks. You're either the best intelligence asset I've ever had, or you're the most elaborate plant in history. He smiled grimly. And if you were a plant, you'd have let Min-jun die and blamed me for lax security. So yes, Ms. Chen, I trust you. It should have felt like a victory. Instead, it felt like the floor had dropped out. Because Kang Jin-seok's trust came with a price. I was now inside his world, and there was no safe exit. We returned to the penthouse. Kang Jin-seok fired his entire household security staff, 10 people, gone in an afternoon. Brought in Yoon's hand-picked team, all personally vetted. For Min-jun, it was traumatic. People he'd known for years disappeared overnight. He withdrew, stopped talking, barely ate. I spent hours with him, just being present. Finally, one night. Are they dead? The people who left? No, your dad just needed new staff. Because someone tried to take me. Yes. Is it over? I wanted to lie, but he deserved truth. I don't know, but your dad is making sure you're safe. And you? I'm not going anywhere. He looked at me with those 2 old eyes. Promise? Promise. That night, Kang Jin-seok found me in the kitchen. I was stress baking, old habit from residency. The counters were covered in cookies. Stress response, he asked. Cheaper than therapy. He took a cookie, ate it. You're good at this. Baking? Protecting my son, being present, not lying to him. He leaned against the counter. Min-jun asked me tonight if you were staying. I said yes. Was that presumptuous? No. I focused on the dough. I told him the same thing. Good. He was quiet for a moment. Then, I need to ask you something, and I need absolute honesty. I looked up. Are you afraid of me? The question surprised me. Yes, but you're still here. Being afraid of something doesn't mean avoiding it. Sometimes it means you understand what you're dealing with. I met his eyes. You're dangerous. You've killed people. You'll kill more, but you protect what's yours. And right now, Min-jun is mine to protect too. So no, I'm not leaving. He studied me. You're extraordinary. Do you know that? I'm a nurse who got recruited into organized crime because of debt. You're a woman who sees threats no one else notices, who stands between my son and death without hesitation, who keeps promises to 7-year-olds. He moved closer. That's extraordinary. I should have stepped back. Professional distance, appropriate boundaries. I didn't move. This is dangerous, I said. Yes, I work for you. Yes, I'm not part of your world. You're more part of it than anyone who was born into it. He reached out, tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. I don't trust easily, Ms. Chen, but I trust you with the only thing that matters to me. That's not small. If you've ever felt your entire life pivot on a single moment, where you could step back into safety or forward into chaos, you'll understand why I didn't move, why I let Kang Jin-seok close the distance between us, why when he kissed me, I kissed him back. It lasted maybe 10 seconds. Then he pulled away. I shouldn't have done that. No, I agreed. It complicates things. Yes, but I'm not sorry. Neither am I. He smiled then, a real one, unguarded. We're both in trouble, Miss Chen. Call me Sarah. Sarah. He said my name like he was testing it. I'm Jin, to you. And that's when I realized I wasn't just protecting his son anymore. I was falling for the most dangerous man I'd ever met. And in his world, love was the most dangerous vulnerability of all. The next threat came from inside. I was reviewing supply orders, part of my expanded role now, and noticed something odd. The household medical supplies I'd ordered 2 weeks ago. The invoice showed delivery, but the quantities were wrong. I'd ordered 6 boxes of first aid supplies. The invoice said 3. Small discrepancy. Could be clerical error. But after everything, nothing was coincidence. I checked the security logs. Delivery had been signed for by the head of new security, Kang Min-soo, Jin's cousin, brought in to replace the compromised team. Family, trusted. I went to the storage room, counted supplies. 3 boxes delivered, 3 present. Nothing missing now. But if someone had taken the difference... I texted Jin. Need to talk, security matter. He called immediately. What is it? Supply discrepancy. Can you come home? I'm in a meeting. How urgent? I hesitated. Was I being paranoid? But my gut was screaming. I think someone on the new team is compromised. Silence. Then, 20 minutes. He arrived with Yoon and Hyungnim. I showed them the invoices, the logs, the signature. Min-soo signed for this? Jin's voice was dangerously calm. Yes, but... But what? The signature looks right, but the pressure is wrong. I pointed to the pen strokes. See how the downstrokes are lighter than the cross strokes? Min-soo is right-handed. This was signed by someone left-handed copying his signature. Yoon looked at me like I'd grown a second head. You can tell that from a signature? I'm a nurse. We analyze handwriting for neurological assessments. This wasn't written naturally. Jin pulled out his phone. Where is Min-soo? On patrol. Building perimeter, Yoon said. Get him here, now. 10 minutes later, Min-soo arrived. Late 40s, solid, with the family resemblance in his cheekbones. Sajang-nim, you needed me? Jin handed him the invoice. This your signature? Min-soo looked. Yes, I signed for... Wait. He looked closer. No, this isn't mine. The date's wrong. I signed for supplies last Tuesday. This says Thursday. Who had access to deliveries Thursday? Whole team. We rotate. Jin's expression was murderous. Someone forged your signature, took a delivery you didn't sign for, kept the difference. He looked at me. How did you catch this? The quantities were wrong, and the signature didn't match his handedness. Min-soo stared at me. You can tell I'm right-handed from a signature? Yes. That's... He stopped, looked at Jin. You hired a human polygraph. I hired someone competent. Jin turned to Yoon. Pull security footage. Thursday delivery. Find out who signed that invoice. It took Yoon 30 minutes. The footage showed someone in security uniform back to camera, signing the invoice. When Yoon enhanced the image, we saw the face. Lee Dae-jung, new hire, recommended by the previous head of security, the one who'd been fired after Jay's betrayal. He's been here 3 weeks, Yoon said quietly, vetted by the compromised security chief. He's a plant, Jin said, left in place after we cleared house. Where is he now? Day off, home address on file. Send a team. I want him brought here. Hyungnim looked troubled. Jin, if he's reporting to someone, then we need to know who, and fast. Because if he's inside, whoever is targeting Min-jun is still active. I felt ice in my veins. The bedroom. They all looked at me. If he's been here 3 weeks, he knows the layout. Min-jun's routine, when security rotates. My heart was pounding. What if the previous attempts weren't the real attack? What if they were testing our response, seeing what we'd catch? Jin went pale. Sarah? The real attack is coming, and now they know I'm the one catching mistakes. The room went silent. Then Jin moved. Hyungnim, get Min-jun. We're leaving, now. But before anyone could act, Jin's phone rang. He answered, listened. His face went stone. Lee is dead. Car accident an hour ago. Very convenient timing. Not an accident, I said. No. He looked at me. They're cleaning up. removing connections. Which means they're moving now, I finished. Whatever they planned, it's happening. Jin made a decision. Everyone out, pack nothing. We go to the secondary location. Yoon, you drive Sarah and Minjun. Youngnim, you're with me. Move. We moved. I ran to Minjun's room. He was doing homework. We're leaving. Now. Don't ask questions. His eyes went wide, but he nodded. Smart kid. I grabbed him, headed for the door, and that's when I saw her. Through the crack in the guest room door, a woman in a maid's uniform, my uniform, moving through the room, going toward Minjun's bedroom. Wrong. Everything about it was wrong. We didn't have maid service tonight, and I didn't recognize her. I pulled Minjun behind me, whispered, "Go to your dad, right now, run." But, run. He ran. I moved toward the guest room, pulled out my phone to call Jin. Someone grabbed me from behind, hand over my mouth, cloth over my face, chemical smell, chloroform. I fought, twisted, tried to scream. The world went gray at the edges. My last thought before darkness. I promised Minjun I wouldn't leave. I woke tied to a chair. The first thing I registered was the zip ties on my wrists. The second was the gag in my mouth. The third was Minjun's bedroom door, open just enough to see inside. The woman in my uniform was standing over his bed. Minjun was already unconscious. They'd drugged him before I'd woken. She had a pillow in her hands, and I couldn't do anything. I pulled against the zip ties. They cut deeper. I tried to make noise through the gag. Muffled, not enough. The woman checked her watch, waiting for something. The drug to work fully, probably. Then she'd smother him with the pillow, stage it as SIDS or accident. And I'd be found here, bound, gagged, clearly having tried to stop it but failed. Except they'd made a mistake. They'd positioned me where I could see, which meant I could observe. I studied everything. The woman's hands shaking, her watch, men's, oversized, the way she kept glancing at the window, her wig sitting wrong on her head, dark roots showing underneath, first-time killer, borrowed watch. Escape planned through the window, disguised. This wasn't a professional hit. This was someone recruited, coerced, or paid, which meant she was the tool, not the architect. I counted Minjun's breaths, slowing. 30 seconds between inhales now, respiratory depression. He had minutes. I made my decision. If I couldn't get free, I'd make enough noise that someone, anyone, would come, even if it meant the woman killed me first. I threw my weight sideways. The chair crashed to the floor, loud. The sound echoed through the penthouse. The woman spun toward me, eyes wide. Panicked, I did it again, rocked the chair, slammed it against the marble floor, again. She dropped the pillow, ran toward me. Shut up, or I'll... The penthouse door exploded open. Jin came through with a gun already drawn. He saw me on the floor, saw the woman, saw Minjun's open door. Don't move. His voice was death. The woman froze. Jin moved to Minjun's doorway, saw his son unconscious. His expression went beyond fury into something cold and absolute. Yoon, handle her. Don't let her die yet. Yoon appeared, grabbed the woman, zip-tied her hands. She started crying, babbling. I was just supposed to. They have my daughter, please. Jin ignored her, came to me, cut the zip ties, removed the gag. Are you hurt? No, Minjun. He's been drugged. Opioid respiratory depression. Need naloxone now. He didn't question. Pulled out his phone. Yoon's carrying it. Medical kit. Yoon tossed a bag. I caught it. Stumbled into Minjun's room. His lips were blue. I administered naloxone. Waited. 10 seconds, 20. He gasped, choked, started breathing. I collapsed against the wall. He's okay. Jin was beside me instantly. Checked his son, then pulled me into his arms. You saved him. Again. I promised I wouldn't leave. He kissed my forehead. I know. The woman's name was Park Soo Jin, 26, single mother, waitress at a restaurant Jin's organization owned. Her daughter had been kidnapped 4 days ago. The kidnappers told her, "Kill Kang Jin Seok's son, or her daughter dies." She'd never killed anyone, didn't know how. They'd walked her through it, drug the child, suffocate him, leave, gave her my uniform, my schedule, building access, told her the house would be empty except Min Jun. They didn't know I'd be there, didn't account for Jin coming home early. "Who took your daughter?" Jin asked. "I don't know. They wore masks. But," she was sobbing, "but one of them knew me, knew my schedule, knew I worked for you." "Inside information," Yoon said. "Yes." Jin looked at me. "Sarah, you said the signature was forged. Lee was killed to cover tracks. Someone inside is coordinating this." I'd been thinking. The person who recommended Lee, the previous security chief, was he arrested or just fired? Fired. Moved back to Korea. Is he alive? Jin went still, made a call, listened, hung up. He's dead. Killed in Seoul 3 days ago, apparent mugging. Not a mugging, I said. He was a loose end. They're cleaning house, removing everyone who can identify them. Which means the architect is still inside. Someone we haven't identified yet. Jin looked at Min-soo. "Cousin, I need your honest answer. Who on the new security team had access to Lee's hiring information?" Min-soo thought. "Only the admin, and Youngnim handled final approval." The room went silent. Youngnim, the elder, Jin's mentor for 20 years. Jin's voice was very quiet. "Where is Youngnim?" "He stayed behind," Yoon said. "Said he'd secure the penthouse after we evacuated. Get him here, now." Youngnim arrived 10 minutes later, calm, professional. "Sa-Jungnim, situation contained?" "Yes, thanks to Sarah." Jin gestured to the woman. "She was sent by kidnappers, coerced through her daughter. Unfortunate, but handled." Youngnim looked at me. "You have sharp eyes, Ms. Chen." "Thank you. Too sharp, perhaps. You've caught several threats in recent weeks." Something in his tone made me look closer. He was standing wrong, too relaxed for a crisis situation, and his right hand was near his jacket. Gun position. "Sarah," Jin said carefully, "what do you see?" I looked at Hyungnim, really looked. His watch, oversized, the same watch the woman had been wearing. "Your watch," I said. "You gave it to her." Hyungnim smiled. "Clever girl." Jin's gun was up instantly. "Don't move." "Or what? You'll shoot your father's oldest friend, your mentor?" Hyungnim didn't reach for his weapon. "I raised you, Jin, taught you everything." "Why?" "Because you killed my son." The smile vanished. 12 years ago, gang war over territory. You shot him in the head and called it business. I saw Jin's face change. Realization. June, the raid. He was my son, and you murdered him for a building. Hyungnim's voice was flat. So I waited, became indispensable, earned your trust, and when you finally had something to lose, your son, I planned to take him from you the way you took June from me. You hired the maid, you placed Jay, you recruited Lee. Jin's gun didn't waver. 12 years of loyalty was a lie. 12 years of patience, but your nurse, he looked at me. She notices things, caught every operative I placed. Impressive. I didn't account for her. You won't touch her. No, you'll do that yourself, eventually. Everyone in your life dies, Jin. Your wife, your parents, soon your son, and finally the woman you love. He smiled. I don't need to kill you. You'll destroy yourself. Jin shot him. Not center mass, shoulder. Youngnim went down, screaming. You don't get a quick death, Jin said. Not after 12 years of betrayal. You get to watch your plan fail. Watch my son live. Watch me build a life you can never touch. He looked at Yoon. Medical care. Keep him alive. Then, creative disappearance. Yoon nodded, dragged Hyungnim out. Jin lowered his gun. His hands were shaking. I went to him, took the gun gently, set it down. It's over. He was family. I know. I trusted him with everything. I know. How do I... His voice broke. How do I trust anyone again? You start small, with people who've proved themselves. I took his hands. You start with me. He pulled me close, held on like I was the only solid thing in his collapsing world. I can't lose you. You won't. Promise me. I promise. The aftermath took 3 days. Park Soo-jin's daughter was recovered, alive, unharmed, hidden in a warehouse. Jin returned her personally, gave the woman money, new identity, and a plane ticket to anywhere she wanted. She chose Canada's East Coast. Hyung-nim was... handled. I didn't ask for details. Jin's face told me enough. The security team was rebuilt from scratch. Min-soo was promoted to head. Yoon became chief of operations. And Jin offered me a different position. Not childcare, he said. Intelligence. You see what others miss. I need that permanently. I'm a nurse. You're an intelligence asset who happens to have medical training. He handed me a contract. Triple salary, full benefits, protection, and, if you want, something more personal. I looked at the contract, then at him. What does something more personal mean? It means I'm asking you to stay, not as staff, as mine. He met my eyes. I'm offering you a place in my life, in Min-jun's life, in my world, with full knowledge of what that means. It means I'm a target. Yes, it means I'm complicit in everything you do. Yes, it means I can never leave safely. Yes, he stepped closer. But it also means you're protected, valued, loved. I should have run, should have taken my cleaned debt and disappeared. Instead, yes, I'll stay, I'll work for you, I took a breath. I'll be yours. He kissed me then, not gentle, desperate, like he'd been holding back for weeks and finally couldn't. When we broke apart, you realize you just agreed to join a criminal organization. I noticed. And you're okay with that? No, but I'm okay with you, with Min-jun, with this. I kissed him again. So yes, I'm in. 6 months later, I was sitting in Jin's study reviewing security protocols when Min-jun came in. Sarah, Dad says you're staying forever now. I smiled. That's the plan. Good. He climbed into my lap. Too big for it, really, but I didn't mind. You're better than the other ones. The other what? The other people who tried to be my mom. I froze. Min-jun. It's okay. I like it. You're not trying to replace her. You're just you. He looked up at me. You notice things. You keep promises. And you make Dad smile again. I felt tears prick my eyes. You're a good kid. I know. He grinned. Then, are you scared? Of what? Being in our family, Dad says it's dangerous. Yes, I'm scared. But you're staying anyway. Yes, that's brave. He hugged me. That's how I know you're real. Jin appeared in the doorway. Min-jun, bedtime. Okay. Min-jun slid off my lap. Dad, is Sarah my new mom? Jin looked at me. I looked back. We hadn't discussed that. Do you want her to be? Jin asked carefully. Yeah. Then we'll work on it. He ruffled Min-jun's hair. Go brush teeth. Min-jun ran off. Jin came to me. Sorry, that was honest. He's honest. I stood. Are we working on it? If you want to. I want to. I kissed him. But I have conditions. Of course you do. I'm not invisible. I'm part of your operations. I use my skills. I'm not protected glass. Agreed. And Min-jun gets normal childhood things. School, friends, soccer. He doesn't grow up only in your world. Agreed. And you, I met his eyes. You don't shut me out. If there's danger, I'm informed. If there's trouble, I'm involved. I'm your partner, not your possession. He smiled. Is that all? For now? Then I have conditions too. Which are? You wear this. He pulled out a small box, opened it. Inside was a ring. Simple, elegant, a single diamond. I stared. Jin? I'm not asking you to marry me, not yet. That's complicated legally with my life, but I'm asking you to be mine, officially. In my world, this means you're protected, claimed, family. And in your heart? In my heart, it means I love you, and I don't want to imagine life without you. I took the ring, slid it on. Then yes, I'm yours. He kissed me. You realize you just agreed to marry a gangster? I noticed. 3 weeks later, I was in the penthouse kitchen, stress baking again because old habits die hard, when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Then, hello? Ms. Chen, this is Detective Kim, Vancouver PD. We'd like to talk to you about Kang Jin Seok. My blood went cold. I'm sorry. Who? Your employer. We have questions about his business operations. We'd like you to come in voluntarily. I'll need to consult legal counsel. Of course. But Ms. Chen? We know about the incident 6 months ago, the attempted kidnapping. You were present. You're a witness. To what? That's what we'd like to determine. A pause. You're not in trouble, but you might be in danger. If you'd like protection, we can offer... I hung up. Jin appeared in the doorway. Who was that? Vancouver PD. They want to talk to me about you. His expression went cold. What did you say? That I'd need legal counsel. Then I hung up. Good. He came closer. Sarah, this is going to get complicated. They're looking at my operations. If they push, you could be subpoenaed. I know. You could walk away. Right now. I'd protect you. Set you up somewhere safe. Is that what you want? No. But it's an option. I thought about it. About the life I'd left behind. The ER, the debt, the loneliness. About the life I had now. Dangerous, complicated, criminal. But also loving. Chosen. Mine. I'm staying, I said. Let them come. I'm not testifying against you. That could mean obstruction charges. Then I'll deal with them, but I'm not leaving. He pulled me close. You're insane. I noticed, and I love you for it. I know. If you've ever made a choice knowing it's probably wrong, probably dangerous, probably going to ruin your life, but made it anyway because the alternative was losing everything that mattered, tell me what you'd do. Would you have stayed with the Mafia boss, knowing the police were closing in? Or walked away while you still could? Because after I chose Jin, after I chose Min Jun, after I chose this impossible life, Detective Kim called back. And this time, they weren't offering protection. They were offering a deal, testify or be charged as an accomplice. I don't know if Jin's lawyers can beat this. I don't know if I'll see prison, but I know one thing. I'm not betraying my family. Not this one. Not ever.